before we get into any of the movies or streaming events, tell us a little bit about your thoughts on this AMC theater issue and Universal Pictures dispute, and does anyone win in this fight?
First of all, you really do have to see both sides of this, because what happened was Universal Pictures has put out Trolls World Tour movie streaming because they figured want to make money. And they did, by the way. So, everybody's home with the kids, and okay, thanks God something's there, and they're watching it. Well, the movie theaters were very upset about that because they could have made a lot of money if Universal had decided to wait, God knows how long, and get this thing in theaters. So AMC, which is on the verge of declaring bankruptcy, really wanted to do something, and this is what they did. They said, no more Universal Pictures. In the meantime, Universal has another movie coming out with Pete Davidson. That's going to go direct to streaming, I think in a couple of weeks. We'll see what happens. I mean, everything is such a mess right now. Everybody is, unfortunately, reacting emotionally first, because they know the bottom line is, it's very frightening. And I clearly get it, both sides. And I think both sides have a point. Both sides could have handled it better, and it's not over. I hope that AMC can live long enough to see this thing through and see what happens. And Universal wasn't in great shape either before all of this happened. So, they're both kind of scrambling. And
Joanna, now I hear Regal is going to be refusing to play Universal movies as well.
Yeah, but again, they need the product. I mean, what are they going to do? Wait for Warner Brothers to come out with something? You can't just make these blanket things and just say, I'm not going to show anything, when it's going to be very tough when eventually these theaters open. I know a couple are supposed to open in Georgia, but it's maybe Texas too, I'm not sure. But like the Alamo Roadhouse, which I think they've handled everything very responsibly, and they're just like, no, no, we're not going to do it. It's not safe, and we're not going to do it. And I despite what the headlines seem to be screaming, and some people seem to be screaming, when you look at what the polls are showing, and I know we can't always rely on polls, but they're so overwhelming that there must be something to them. Most people say they're very concerned about getting back to normal life.
Yes.
And normal life, really, like, as much as I love what I do, and I think it's very important, going to a movie theater when you can sit home or maybe go outside or whatever and stream something, this is not the most important thing. Back in the Depression, when it was all you had, okay, I can see how people would, put their money into going to see a movie. And honestly, we don't know what's going to happen with the economy. So, they can make all the noise they want, but when people are nervous about their pocketbooks, how many of them are going to spend a lot of money to go to a movie theater, whether they feel it's safe or not?
Joanna,
I mean, this is a very, very complicated situation.
Yeah, great point. But here is the irony of it all. Who would have thought that Trolls World Tour would become the most controversial?
Break down the whole thing. Right? Well, let's hope that that's not the case, but I do get your point. I mean, they are very mighty, I suppose. On the other hand, if you look at what the options are, streaming, cable right now, some of them are really good. And, this has been coming. We know this. Yeah. So the fact that they're getting better and better and more, everybody was talking last week Bad Education on HBO, which you can go and find if you didn't see it. Some people say it's Hugh Jackman's best performance. I'm not so sure about that because I think he's done great stuff in other things too. But he's very good. And then it's a true story of people ripping off not just the school system, but the town that they were living in Long Island back in 2001. And it's very well done. There's a really interesting series on Hulu, a couple of them actually. There's Mrs. America. and also a new one called Normal People, which is based on a bestseller, beautifully done. Everybody's watching, of course, the Michael Jordan thing on ESPN. It's called The Last Dance, and that's working for a number of reasons. It's interesting about how his whole career went, and especially that last year was he going to quit? Wasn't he going to quit? This and that, and you get all the other, everybody included in the world of basketball, and then, adjacent people, shall we say. But it also is showing some amazing basketball, and people aren't getting that now, so they're watching it because you could see these highlights of just an incredible series of performances. I mean, they talk about Scottie Pippen, and they talk about, all these other players.
Right.
So, people are watching that. Last night, we tuned in on YouTube. God bless them. The National Theatre in England is showing some of their greatest hits. And they are, for this couple of days, they're showing a production of Frankenstein, which is remarkable. Yeah, we watched it last night, and Benedict Cumberbatch plays Frankenstein, and the staging is incredible. I mean, his performance is very good, but I was a little like, 10 out of 10 a minute, give me a break. Because it goes, there's no intermission. It's 2 hours of like really intense stuff. But the staging is great, and all the other acting is very, very impressive. And it's a really interesting take on a story you think you know, but maybe you don't. And so, that's culture right there in your living room, and it's free.
Absolutely. This is on YouTube,
so
Joanna?
Cool. It's on YouTube, yeah. And God bless the National Theatre for doing that, because, their stuff is very high quality, and they usually charge considerable money if you go and see it. And remember those movie theaters we were talking about.
Yeah.
I Still Love My Brilliant Friend. That's on HBO. Billions. People love Billions. Yeah. That's coming back this weekend. And then, there are all these really good people and really good productions right there available for you. And it's great to turn off the news and just watch something else for a few minutes.
Absolutely. My God, isn't that the truth?
I think it's very important. I really think it's I know myself, I'm sitting there and I'm getting all glitchy and upset and everything, and then I turn on, a great piece of work, and even if it's just something fun and light, it's like, oh, thank God,
Yeah, exactly.
Although I do have to say, I watch these things and I see people touching each other or touching their face. I'm like, no, don't do it.
I remember that.
Right. Hugging? What are you thinking?
Joanna, even though it's a virtual one, I hope you can feel this hug that is absolutely embracing you with all of our love, our gratitude. I just can't pick the words to say how much we truly love you.
Well, thank you very much, and I really appreciate it. I really do. It means a lot.
Oh, absolutely. So we will look forward to next week with you, Joanna.